Well, I've enjoyed our little rocking chair chats this week. I hope that they've gotten you thinking about the direction of your life. The final question this week comes from Jesus' own mouth, Luke chapter 6, verse 46. He says, "Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say?" It's a simple question, but it packs a powerful punch, doesn't it? If you call Jesus Lord, then why don't you obey him? A few years ago, the Barna Group did a survey that discovered as many as 3/4 of Christians in America call themselves casual Christians. That is, that they don't follow Jesus with 100% devotion. They go to church, read the Bible on occasion, and live a mostly good moral life, but that's about it. Jesus says, if you call me Lord, then why don't you obey all that I say? You might be wondering, well, isn't the heart all that matters? As long as we're sincere in what we believe and do, isn't that all Jesus asks of us? This is exactly the kind of thinking that Jesus says is wrong. What kind of a heart calls Jesus Lord, but then doesn't do what he says? Is that a sincere heart? Is that a faithful heart, an obedient heart? Is that really a loving heart? If there's one thing we learn from the Bible, it is that lip service doesn't cut it in our service to God. In Matthew 15, Jesus says of his generation, "This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me." There's a connection between what we say and claim and what we do from our hearts. If Jesus is Lord on our lips, then he must be Lord of our hearts. What that means is that whatever he commands of us, we do it. If he commands us to be baptized for forgiveness of sins, we do it. If he says, worship me in this way, we do it. If he tells me to go out and teach the gospel to others, preach the good news, we do it. No questions asked, because we love him, because he is our Lord. But if we're honest with ourselves, Jesus' question challenges even the most devoted of us, doesn't it? Those of us who would not call ourselves casual Christians. In the same chapter, Jesus says, love your enemies. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those that persecute you. He also tells us to not judge other people hypocritically, focusing so much on the faults of others that we overlook our own. Do we obey Jesus in those ways? Do we call him Lord but not do what he says? Jesus follows up this question with a short parable. Everyone who comes to me and hears my word and acts on them, I'll show you what he's like. He's like a man building a house who dug deep and laid a foundation on the rock. When a flood occurred, the torrent burst against that house and could not shake it because it had been well built. But the one who has heard and has not acted accordingly is like a man who built a house on the ground without any foundation. And the torrent burst against it, and immediately it collapsed, and the ruin of that house was great. Jesus says the only way to survive the storms of life, like right now, is by building your life on what he says. Do you call him Lord? Do you do what he says? Until next time, may God bless you with health and faith.